Welcome again. This is the final webinar in a series of 5. In 2020, we set out to unlock the potential of data from satellites and showcase you how you can unlock new business opportunities. From farming to consumer solutions in IoT, energy, raw materials, maritime we had as well, to today, the environment and green transformation is particularly relevant and urgent topic. We are joined today by EUSPA colleagues Marketa and Veronica today, uniquely for the audiences from the EUBIC community and both our networks. The EUBIC community is facilitated by EBN. And the EUSPA stakeholders, Marketa and Veronica, will showcase ideas and innovative solutions utilizing Europe's Galileo and Copernicus services. Naturally, focus to our audiences will focus on entrepreneurial solutions, entrepreneurial innovation. Before we dive into the agenda of today, and I think it is even not necessary anymore to mention it, but I will kindly ask you to mute your microphone during the presentations. We do very much welcome your input and your questions in the chat. That said, as well, there will be a Q&A concluding the session after Veronica has delivered her part. For more in-depth questions. That said, feel free to posit your questions in the meantime already. Again, the session is recorded. If you have any objections, please let us know. We'll also distribute it later via our social media channels and all the other relevant channels. Let's see what we're doing today. My name is Bram Pauwels. I'm Strategic Partnership Manager by EBN. I will give you a quick snapshot of what EBN is. I will keep it very short because the full attention should be obviously on EUSPA and the space program and the opportunities that lay within there for you entrepreneurs and other innovation stakeholders. And naturally, the gist of the session of today, the contribution by Veronica, Space Technologies for Sustainability and the Green Transformation, tailored to entrepreneurial solutions. We will see practical applications and projects, and then we'll dive in a Q&A. Let me quickly start. Everybody's in? Yes, briefly about EBN. We speak about the EUBIC community. It's a community of certified business and innovation centers all around Europe and beyond, and it is certified and managed by EBN. This is a quick snapshot of what we do, and I do think for underlying purposes, what makes EBN unique, and especially the EUBIC community, is that we set out to use technology to address and tackle our present global challenges. As said, EBN serves organizations that use business and innovation specifically for this role, and more particularly to stimulate regional innovation ecosystems, and hence, therefore, regional economic, sustainable, social, and inclusive development. Another point, what is unique, I guess, besides the number of the community, we follow certain mission commitments. EUBICs, our members, they use the best possible actions to create thriving startups and SMEs, working in industries ranging from space, deep tech, AI, health, foods, space, again, smart materials, and agriculture, naturally. A key feature of EUBICs is innovation ecosystem builders and business intermediaries. They take real steps to ensure that their services are best advantageous to their clients and best advantageous to the regions. You won't find our members that often in the main capitals of the countries. You will find us in emerging regions where we really try to put up regional innovation ecosystem with success and then deliver quality business support. On average, the startups supported by our members outperform in 3-year survival rates with 85% versus 58%. So really proud of those numbers, of course. And I won't bore you too much with the numbers of our network, not the least because it's based on 2020 and our new impact report is coming up. So I advise you to keep an eye on the website, www.ebn.eu. Currently, we are around 125 quality certified EUBICs and 40 associate members, and we are around 35 countries shaping the global pan-European global EUBIC community. What do those organizations look like? Imagine ranging from accelerators, incubators, science parks, academia, and technology transfer organizations. Of course, as we deal with innovation ecosystems, we have a broad network of partners from investors, institutional partners such as EUSPA, and much more. These are binding mission commitments. And again, I won't talk while you read because that's simply not possible with the brain. So I think this has been on, and I keep 1 second silence to quickly skim over it. As you can see, it's a support that not only links regional sustainable economic development, it really connects the whole innovation ecosystem from the start of the entrepreneurial journey to scaling European innovation, to going abroad and accessing new markets. Quickly moving ahead. What does EBN do? What do we do for our members? We facilitate, we have the honor to facilitate and support this rich community of people using innovative business for regional sustainable economic development. How do we do that? We are the host and the accreditor of the EU BIC certification. It's a quality label recognized as well by the European Commission. We facilitate project collaborations and we initiate consortia building, etc. We do a fair share of global networking and advocacy, of course, for our members and for the broader innovation ecosystem. Bear with me while I admit a few other people in the room. In this context, you can imagine we're very pleased with the collaboration with EUSPA. And I think that's indeed the cue for Marketa to get ready to tell a bit more what's going on at EUSPA. We're very proud and pleased as well, and our members as well, to collaborate with EUSPA and the broader European space sector. Really, our missions align. We look forward to building a green, digital, and fair society, and space is a critical, not only component, the sector and industries, but also a transversal topic. On this note, I would like to give the word to Marketa to give you a quick introduction of EUSPA and share some of the many opportunities available within the space program.
So good afternoon. My name is Marketa Gladyshev. I work as a consultant for market development team of EUSPA. And we are very happy to have this cooperation with EBN, that we can reach the completely new audience. And the aim is that we introduce how space data can be leveraged in different kind of industries. And today, as Bram already said, we focus on sustainability and green transformation. And before Veronica will guide you through this topic, I would like to shortly introduce the agency, what kind of activities the agency is doing for entrepreneurs, startups, and companies, and how you can get in touch with us. So first of all, EUSPA is a European Union agency for the space program, and it provides safe and secure European satellite navigation services. It promotes Galileo, which is global satellite navigation positioning system, EGNOS, that makes navigation more precise, more accurate, and then Copernicus, which is Earth observation monitoring, which it's a program leveraging satellite and non-satellite data, and it's currently the #1 world provider of Earth observation data. There are around 20 terabytes of data coming from the satellites every day. And the forthcoming governmental satellite communications program, GovSatcom. I would like to also mention that EUSPA is responsible for the security accreditation of all the EU space program components. And EUSPA celebrated 1 year recently. But before, the EUSPA replaced GSA, which was a global satellite navigation agency, focusing on operation and market development of Galileo and EGNOS. And these two programs already enabled new businesses across different market segments, from consumer solutions, automotive, aviation, drones, maritime, agriculture, rail, and so on. And here you can see some achievement. For example, there are already around 2.5 billion Galileo-enabled smartphones, or 55 car brands selling more than 150 EGNOS and Galileo-enabled models. And here I would like to talk a bit about what kind of tools EUSPA is offering to businesses. So there are grants and procurement. So first of all, Horizon projects, Horizon 2020, now Horizon Europe, which are tools and funding focusing or stimulating development of new applications, software. Then fundamental elements, these are focused on development of hardware, meaning grants, financing, for example, development of antennas or chipsets. Then adoption grants, that's the third one, and this is focusing rather on stimulation of development, something new, like the first do, on identification of a gap and development of a solution to fill this gap. So for example, under these grants, you could find a project for retrofit solutions for airplanes. And finally, entrepreneurship initiatives. And I work with the entrepreneurship team here at EUSPA. And here we are doing different kind of activities under Cassini program, which is program from European Commission. And under this Cassini program, maybe I will share, go to next slide. There are different activities supporting startups. So for example, hackathons or competitions. Recently, EUSPA finished my EU Space competitions. That was a 6 months long program for companies who were developing solutions using space data. So it was solutions either Galileo based or Copernicus based within six categories. For example, mobility, agriculture, or consumer solutions. Then, apart from these competitions, we work with the startups and businesses further. The team at EUSPA has built a network of venture capitals, of investors, and accelerators, and providing different opportunities to the startups, and helping them to grow. For example, now there is an ongoing activity, Cassini matchmaking, focusing on connecting startups with investors and businesses. After my presentation, I will share in a chat some useful links. For example, one you have also here, cassini.eu, where you can always find the most recent opportunities. And I will also share email where you can always reach us if you are interested. And also if you like to keep receiving some opportunities, for example. And finally, I would like to mention EUSPA market report, which is, this report combines the market and application insight into a single report that provides market trends and applications from all the application areas, ranging from agriculture, aviation, also to the environment and sustainability that will be topic of today. And this report is freely available on the EUSPA website, and it's we call it market intelligence. So for anyone who is interested to get to know the Earth observation or GNSS market, I would highly recommend to download it. Okay, so that's everything from my side. So I will stop sharing and pass the word to Veronica to talk in a detail about sustainability and green transformation.
So thank you all for joining our webinar. And my colleague, Yara Salamini, and me, we prepared a presentation. The topic was already announced, Space Technology for Sustainable and Green Transformation. Okay, it seems frozen. Okay. So what is the content of my presentation? I will start with brief introduction about the green transformation in the European Union. Then I will be speaking about some business opportunities for green transformation. And in the last part, I will show you some innovative solutions, applications, and services that have been developed using Earth observation and in particular Copernicus data. Some reason it's not moving, my slides are not moving. Okay, since it's a bit slow. So I'm sure we all are aware that climate change is a real issue and it's really happening. And it has been already proved that climate change is caused by human activity and in particular by emitting high loads of greenhouse gases. Unfortunately, climate change has been accelerating, and as a result, greenhouse concentrations drive global temperatures towards dangerous levels. Besides these physical signs, climate change has indeed many socio-economic impacts. WMO defined climate risks and extreme events and related impacts, and they also somehow model the connected socio-economic impacts, and they model how many people are or will be affected by these events. As you can see, quite a lot of people are in risk, and we all understand that a serious transformation is needed. European Commission released a plan, that means long-term plan, for this green transformation. It is called Green Deal. And by the end 2050, the Europe, the whole continent, should become climate neutral. This is the main long-term vision. But besides this one, there are also another long-term visions, such as climate resilience, EU biodiversity strategy, or zero pollution action plan. So as you can see, it's a long-term plan which is very complex. If you look at the Green Deal objectives in detail, we can see they span across 10 key areas, which can actually be near-term investment opportunities. We can list some of them, for instance, like making building greener, supply clean energy, make transport sustainable, build a healthier, greener food system, boost climate spending, and so on. All these topics, they have a high relevance for investors, especially when investing in low carbon technologies or helping building higher environmental and climate risk awareness or more transparent sustainable reporting. To list some examples of sectors that have been addressed by Green Deal, I can list atmosphere monitoring, waste management, agriculture, resource efficiency, water management, and so on. So the Green Deal is backed up by impactful policies, and indeed, like this policy area has big implications to industry. But just to emphasize, like the biggest potential, which is relevant for investors, European Green Deal investment plan stimulates green transformation in emerging markets and enabling new technologies. And there are like EU funding instruments geared for companies to make their operations compliant. We all understand that this tremendous transformation, for this transformation, we need reliable monitoring data. And that's why Earth observation data, in particular Copernicus program, which is the European space program, becomes relevant for the Green Deal topic. Copernicus program actually provides data. They are acquired by the constellations of 6 different satellite systems. And these data provide continuous, timely, and regularly updated information on the Earth status. What is also very important, at sufficient spatial resolution, high temporal frequency, and the most important thing is that all the data are provided for free. Based on these free Copernicus data, few thematic services have been provided also for free. These services provide reliable and, let's say, ready-to-use data and information for different decision makers, stakeholders, and end users. And like the topical areas are climate change, marine monitoring, atmosphere, land monitoring, security, and emergency management. With all these information, data, and services, we can do systematic analysis and reanalysis, and this becomes the basis for allowing seasonal predictions and making reliable future projections. Now I'm coming to the second part of my presentation, where I will be speaking about business opportunities for green transformation. So looking at the green transformation market opportunities, we can see that in 2021, private investments in energy transitions totaled closely 214 billion euros. However, by 2025, these investments must triple, and between 2025 and 2030, they should double. So you can see there is a huge investment and potential. On the other hand, space application companies are leveraging unprecedented available of space-based data, as explained before, and these data are quite often available for free. Therefore, together with traction provided by green transformation, these service providers can build new products, applications, and services. If we look at the thematic areas that are relevant for the Green Deal, we can see green buildings, carbon footprint management, weather monitoring, forecasting, air monitoring, forest monitoring, crop monitoring, soil condition monitoring, and water purification and others. So basically this application areas, they cover basically the whole portfolio. As Marketa already announced, EUSPA released a new market report at the beginning of 2022. And in this report, you get an overview on existing Earth observation and GNSS applications across the multiple segments that have been defined in EUSPA. Of course, Green Deal, obviously, it is relevant for many of them, but in particular, there are 3 segments where the Green Deal has or can have the biggest importance. So, specifically, it is a climate service, biodiversity ecosystem, and natural capitals, and environmental monitoring. Looking closer at the climate service, looking at the numbers, we can see that the revenues for the sale of both Earth observation data and services in climate service sector was in 2021 close to 318 million euros. And the projection is that it will grow by almost 50% over the next decade, reaching 451 million euros in 2031. If you look close on the Earth observation enabled applications, they have the highest potential for growth. We can see Earth observation based climate modeling is the most relevant, followed by climate change mitigation, adaptation, and climate monitoring and forecasting. If you look at the biodiversity, ecosystem, and natural capitals segment, again, the revenues for sale of both Earth observation and services in this sector, it's amounted to 196 million in 2021. And the projection is to grow over the next decade, reaching 297 million in 2031. If you look at the most promising application, it is terrestrial ecosystem monitoring, snow and ice ecosystem monitoring, followed by water ecosystem monitoring and coastal ecosystem monitoring. And coming to the third segment, again, like the revenue for 2021 are amounted to 120 millions. And the projection is again like to grow over the next decade to reach 190 millions in 2031. The most promising application area was identified like as environmental resource management, followed by environmental auditing and impact studies. Coming like showing actually the funding availabilities. It's like a European Green Deal investment plan will provide over 1 trillion investments over the next decade. This is like an unprecedented amount of money. And if you look at like what programs are like the most promising or they have the most money in, we can see that like Invest EU, which is the mixed public-private funding in that actually is funding for higher risk projections that has the, let's say, the highest amount of money, that will provide the highest amount of money. This is followed by national funds, that is the program actually co-financing national structural funding for climate and environmental projects. Then another one is Just Transition Fund, that is public EU funding fund into clean energy and circular economy. And let's say the last one, but still like 25 billion euros. This represents the revenues from emissions trading system for low carbon and clean technology. So as you can see, like the potential and the funding mechanism is like tremendous. Now coming to the last part of the presentation, where I will show you some innovative solutions, services that have been already built based on Earth observation data. So like we already learned about the Green Deal. So we know like that there are defined, let's say, Green Deal strategies. So for instance, like the Green Deal role says we need stricter environmental impact measures, which requires higher intervals for monitoring of pipelines for damages. This should help the EU to reduce greenhouse gases by 50% before 2030 and achieve climate neutrality by 2050. On the other hand, we have problems that needs to be solved, like pipeline leaks lead to environmental impacts from oil pollution and unwanted methane gas emissions. Therefore, we need a yearly detection system which would be efficient and not expensive. And basically, the energy sector contributes at least 30% of global methane emissions, a strong greenhouse gas, and we need to, let's say, cut down this contribution. So what is the solution? Copernicus Sentinel satellite imagery allows to monitor the full length of oil and gas pipelines. and to detect potential threats. Also, ground movements can be detected with an accuracy of millimeters and updated at a frequency of several days. And the solutions have been already provided by several companies listed here. You can see like ICEYE, OrbitEye, StudioMap, and so on. And if you look at the example of the service, this is the monitoring pipeline service that has been provided by OrbitEye. And how they do that, they process synthetic apparatus radar data that actually could monitor pipelines from space. And they can see the third-part interference. They can detect this interference using smart algorithms and ground motion measurements at the millimetric accuracy. Therefore, like all suspicious events are made available to the operators, which are investigating the reported issues afterwards. And then field personnel carry, they call it PIMSys tablets, that is connected to the operator's database by cellular network and satellite communication, allowing the device to operate in remote locations. So you can see this is a very efficient way how to monitor these leaks. And let's say even more like this is enabled by the space technology, space data, which are provided for free. If you look at another example, like the Green Deal role is defined as EU to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 50-50 before 2030 and achieve, again, like climate neutrality by 2050. And what is the problem? The global oil market is not entirely transparent. Official oil stocks may not be reported correctly. Oil-producing nations may hide the total production, consumption, and storage. And oil pricing and oil trading strategies may not be reflecting the real oil condition of the production. So again, what is the solution to use the space technology and monitor, let's say, crude oil from the space? Copernicus Sentinel satellite data allows to monitor oil farms globally, enabling up-to-date estimation of oil reserves across oil producers' countries. Again, like there have been, let's say, like a few companies, they have been developing solutions and providing services to monitor crude oil reserves from space. And if you look at some example, they actually build the application using Sentinel-1 data. It's again like mapping natural leaks of crude oil and gas. It is the service provided by NPA Satellite Mapping CGG. And actually, they use Sentinel-1 data, which is synthetic apparatus radar data, to detect actually the oil films on surface of water and like to distinguish these oil leaks, let's say, from natural seepages. So on this example, you can see basically they analyzed the time series through the years 2016 and 17 and detected a few natural leaks of crude oil and gas. Coming to another application, we didn't speak much about EGNSS, but of course, like it's also, let's say, the integral part of the European Space Program. So basically, again, the Green Deal role is defined as a strengthening of multimodal transport that requires better cross-integration of fleet management systems. And the goal for the EU is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in transport by 90% before 2050. What is the actual problem? Like poor fleet coordination in road, maritime, air, and rail transport, which can lead to higher emissions due to longer travel time and or congestion. And what is the solution, let's say, provided by EGNSS? EGNSS allows for centimeter level positioning across all transport domains and enabling efficient planning of freight handoff, passengers pickup, drop-off, and many other applications. So as you can see, there are again like a few service providers for this topic. And like if you would like to catch up with the recent development in this area, you can actually catch up with a new European Commission project, which was funded through EUSPA, called Arianda. And Arianda stands for Awareness Raising and Capacity Building, Increasing Adoption of EGNSS in Urban Mobility Applications and Services. And as I said, it's a new European Commission project that supports the adoption of EGNSS for public transport and urban mobility, also helping raising awareness on Galileo, IGNOS benefits, and all over technical features. It is a consortium that puts together SMEs, startups, academia, and all kind of stakeholders. So like you can learn about the recent trends in this area, like following this project. What are the key takeaways? Like we have to understand that the European Green Deal is actually the opportunity for the space sector in Europe to fill this gap, since many variables impacted by the Green Deal can be effectively measured by space access. European Green Deal and its objectives require data-driven approach and methods for, let's say, proper implementation and monitoring. And this trend is reflecting in the Earth observation market forecast that we have for each market segment, particularly the ones dealing with climate and environment. And still several policies are stimulating companies to get, let's say, greener, impacting the development of new space-based solutions and innovation products. So I think I finished my presentation, and then we can have open some questions and discussion.
Thank you, Veronica. Interesting contribution. I would kindly ask you to stop sharing your screen. Perfect. We have one question in the chat so far. Are there any further questions in the audience? Feel free to open your microphone and your camera and to jump in. Related to this, while I take this question for you, Veronica, related to the beginning of your presentation, Ahmad Albitar asked, did any of the service provider mention a degradation of product efficiency due to the reduced operability of S1 mission? I believe this was tied to the oil example.
Yes, I understand. It's a real, it is a, let's say, it is a problem for the industry, because basically one Sentinel-1 satellite is not has not been operating, and that definitely can affect the product accuracy, and also like the number of data that can be analyzed in the time series. Yeah. as far as I know, this problem has not been solved, and obviously it's not easy to solve this problem. And that might be the case. We will have to wait for a new Sentinel-1 satellite to recover this this issue.
Thank you, Ahmad. This answers your question, or would you like to elaborate? Thank you. Perfect. Any further questions from the audience? We still have 15 minutes left. I'm well aware we're at the end of the day, or at the early morning for some. All right. Just a reminder, you can find the recording later on shared on YouTube. We will share the presentation as well once the session has been concluded. This will be done via email. Marketa and Veronica, first, thank you for your contribution for today. Just got back from holiday. I'm very happy that you made some time to jump in for the original presenter. And on that note, Marketa, thank you and the EUSPA team for joining EBN in this fifth 5-series event. This was the concluding session. It was a big pleasure. Any closing words from your end?
Yes, thank you very much for organizing this. It's been a pleasure. We were really happy to be part of it. Maybe I would say that space technologies might seem it's really far from us, but actually we're using it every day in different industries, as we learned from this series of webinars. And yeah, I would like to invite everyone who is interested, and maybe we didn't answer or we didn't answer all your questions. You can always contact us on the email I shared in the chat. And we're looking forward to see you in another opportunity.
Thank you. And indeed, keep a close eye on the events calendar from EUSPA. There are many events popping up, particularly interesting for the audience, and likewise as well on ebn.eu. On that note, thank you once again. Thank you for participating, and see you in another occasion. On another occasion. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.